Hello everyone, today in this video I am going to deal with the second part of second chapter of class 9th of Beehive book. The chapter is The Sound of Music Part 2, The Sehnai of Bismillah Khan. Before I move to this chapter, let me give you outline of this chapter, that is about Bismillah Khan. The chapter incorporates the journey of Ustad Bismillah Khan. He is maestro of Sehnai. He dedicated his whole life to music, and that too particularly to Sehnai. Starting his journey from Dumrao, he toured to different parts of the world and performed in various parts of the world. Ustad Kamaruddin Bismillah Khan. Bismillah Khan, often referred to by the title Ustad, was an Indian musician credited with popularizing the Sehnai, a subcontinental wind instrument of OB class. While the Sehnai had long held importance as a folk instrument played primarily in traditional ceremonies, Khan is credited with elevating its status and bringing it to the concert stage. So this is his contribution, its most important contribution of Bismillah Khan. Earlier Sehnai was regarded as a folk instrument, but he elevated its position. He brought Sehnai in the front of the stage, and even he brought it at the concert level on international platform. He was awarded India's highest civilian honor, the Bharat Ratna, in 2001. Now let's move to the text. Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of musical instrument called pungi in royal residence, for it had a shrill, unpleasant sound. Pungi became the generic name for reeded noise makers. Few had thought that it would one day be revived. A barber of a family of professional musicians who had access to the royal palace decided to improve the tonal quality of pungi. He chose a pipe with a natural hollow stem that was longer and broader than pungi, and made 7 holes on the body of the pipe. When he played on it, closing and opening some of these holes, soft and melodious sounds were produced. So this is about the first paragraph. The opening paragraphs give us the genesis, that how Sehnai came into being, how it was discovered. So here in the picture, here you can see this is a pungi and this is Sehnai. So it is being said that the chapter opens during the era of Aurangzeb. It gives the story of Mughal emperor, that is Aurangzeb. So what it says, during his time he banned a musical instrument named pungi. So it was made up of reeds, and he found the sound of pungi quite unpleasant. He called it noise makers. Noise is something, the sound which is unpleasant is known as noise. So he found the sound of pungi quite unpleasant to listen, to hear, and therefore he banned it. And after that, no one ever thought to improve or to bring the new version or to update that pungi. But there was a family, a barber, they were a barber and they were professional musicians. So what they did, they decided to improve the tonal quality. What does tonal quality means? Tonal, it means the tone of music. They thought to improve the musical quality of pungi, and for that what they did, they chose a pipe with natural hollow stem that was longer and broader than pungi and made 7 holes on the body. So they chose a hollow stem which was natural, not artificial one. Perhaps it might be the stem of some of the plants. So they choose it and it was little bit longer and broader than Pungi. And after that, what they did, they made 7 holes upon it, upon the body of that pipe, and it was being played by opening and closing of the holes which were made on the body of that instrument. And when it was played, by blowing air in it and by opening and closing of that holes which were made on the body of that flute of that Sehnai, then it produced a very melodious sound. Here you can see that this is long, and here on the body of it, here you can see there are holes. So music is produced, melodious sound is produced by opening and closing of these holes only. So this is how Sehnai came into being. So it was invented, you may say that it was first of all crafted by a barber who were musician by profession. He played the instrument before royalty and everyone was impressed. The instrument, so different from Pungi, had to be given a new name. The story goes, since it was first played in the Shah's chamber and was played by Nai, the instrument was named Sehnai. So this is, in this part it is given that how the name was given Sehnai to this musical instrument. So it is being said that since it was played for the first time in front of Shah, that is in Shah court, Shah, it means it refers to emperor, so it was first played in front of emperor, and it was played by Nai. Nai is Hindi word for barber, and therefore both the word was joined together and a new name was coined to this musical instrument, that is known as Sehnai. So Shah plus Nai, it becomes Sehnai. So this is how the genesis of Sehnai came into being. The sound of Sehnai began to be considered auspicious, and for this reason it is still played in temples and is an indispensable component of any North Indian wedding. In the past, the Sehnai was part of the Naubat or traditional ensemble of 9 instruments found at royal court. Till recently, it was used only in temples and weddings. The credit of bringing this instrument onto the classical stage goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. So since then, after its genesis, this Sehnai, this musical instrument, became an inseparable part, and it was regarded as auspicious. It means it was regarded as a good sign. The sound of the music produced by Sehnai was regarded as a good sign. It was regarded as pious and auspicious and particularly it became an inseparable part of Indian wedding of North India. And it was played in temples, it was played on different auspicious occasions, maybe it may be weddings, it may be any good occasion. Whatever happy moments comes in North Indian, that Sehnai, the music of Sehnai becomes an inseparable part. It has become, you may say that it has become a rituals. So till now, before Ustad Bismillah Khan, this instrument was a part of culture only. It was limited to temples and different traditional and cultural folk song only. But now Ustad Bismillah Khan, he brought this musical instrument to the front stage. From a folk instrument, he made it a most important classical and musical instrument, and he played Sehnai at number of international platform in number of concerts. As a 5-year-old, Bismillah Khan played Gilli Danda near a pond in ancient state of Dumrao in Bihar. He would regularly go to nearby Bihariji temple to sing Bhojpuri Chaita, at the end of which he would earn a big laddu weighing 1.25, a prize given by the local Maharaja. This happened 80 years ago, and the little boy has travelled far to earn the highest civilian award in India, the Bharat Ratna. So it is being said in this paragraph that when he was child, when he was he was 5-year-old boy living in Dumrao, which is located in Bihar. he says that the author says that at that time he used to sing Chaita. Chaita is a local folk song, Bhojpuri song of Bihar. So he used to sing that song, and as a award he was being rewarded by the Maharaja, the local Maharaja. He used to be awarded with a laddu weighing 1.25 kg, and from that award of laddu which weigh 1.25 kg, from there he began his journey, and from there he went to achieve the highest civilian award of the country, that is the Bharat Ratna. So you may say from laddu to Bharat Ratna. So this paragraph gives us his journey from winning a laddu weighing 1.25 kg till he was awarded with Bharat Ratna, which is the highest civilian award of India. Born on 21 March 1916, Bismillah belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. His grandfather Rasul Bucks Khan and the Sahnai Nawaz of Bhojpur King's Court, his father Pagambar Bucks and other paternal ancestors were also great Sahnai players. So it is being said that his family were musician, his family background is even music, indulged in musical instruments only. They all were musician. His grandfather, his father, they all were musician, and they had an old relation with Bhojpur King's Court. So all the members, all his ancestors were related to Bhojpur King's Court. They used to play Sahnai in Bhojpur King's Court. The young boy took to music early in life at the age of 3 when his mother took him to maternal uncle's house in Benares, now Varanasi. Bismillah was fascinated watching his uncle practice the Sahnai. Soon Bismillah started accompanying his uncle Ali Bucks to the Vishnu temple of Benares, where Bucks was employed to play Sahnai. Ali Bucks would play the Sahnai and Bismillah would sit captivated for hours on end. Slowly he started getting lesson in playing the instrument and would sit practicing throughout the day. For years to come, the temple of Balaji and Mangla Maya and the bank of Ganga became the young apprentice's favorite haunts, where he would practice in solitude. The flowing waters of the Ganga inspired him to improvise and invent ragas that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of Sahnai. So now it is being said in this paragraph that how he started learning Sahnai, that is being given in this paragraph. So it is being said that he took up Sahnai at a very tender age when he was only 3 years old. So at that time only he chose to become a musician, and he chose this instrument, that is Sahnai. So it is being said that at the age of 3 when he accompanied his mother to his maternal parents' house, at that time he was fascinated, he was attracted towards Sahnai. When he saw his maternal uncle playing Sahnai, he was a professional Sahnai player. He used to play Sahnai at Vishnu temple at Benares, and there this boy, when he was a child, Bismillah Khan, he used to accompany him, and there his maternal uncle would play on Sahnai, and he used to listen, captivated, it means totally attracted, lost in the music, in the sound produced by Sahnai. So after few time he started getting lesson on playing Sahnai, and slowly and gradually he learnt it, and he started practicing it on Balaji temple, at Balaji temple and Mangla Maya temple, and on the bank of Ganga river. And he started producing various music, various sounds which were regarded as impossible to be produced on Sahnai. He used to improvise. Here improvise, it means he used to create new music. He used to produce new sound from that Sahnai. He used to invent different ragas. he was inspired by the sound produced by Ganga river, and whatever sound he heard from that Ganga river, coming from Ganga river, he tried his best to produce that sound from his Sahnai, and at last he has invented many new ragas and many new musical tone which were earlier regarded as impossible to be produced from Sahnai. So this is how his journey as a Sahnai player, as a maestro begins. That is, it begins from Banaras at Balaji and Mangla Maiya temple and from Ganga river. So you may say the Ganga river inspired him to produce several, many new music, many new ragas. At the age of 14, Bismillah accompanied his uncle to Allahabad Music Conference. At the end of this recital, Ustad Fayyaz Khan patted the young boy back and said, "Work hard, you shall make it." With the opening of All India Radio in Lucknow in 1938 came Bismillah's big break. He soon became an often heard Sahnai player on radio. So at the age of 14, first time he played Sahnai at the Allahabad Music Conference, and there even he got his sound, his Sahnai get recognized, and one of the Ustad whose name is Fayyaz Khan, he lauded him and he said him that work hard, definitely you have that caliber to achieve the unachieved feat in this field. And when All India Radio opened in Lucknow, that is in 1938, then he was often heard playing on radio. So he became a regular player of Sahnai on radio. So his Sahnai was being telecasted, was being broadcasted through radio. He started playing Sahnai for All India Radio in Lucknow in 1938. When India gained independence on 15 August 1947, Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to greet the nation with Sahnai. He poured his heart out into Rag Kafi from the Red Fort to the audience, which included Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who later gave his speech, his famous Tryst with Destiny speech. So now another auspicious occasion when he played Sahnai was 15 August 1947 when India got its independence. He played the famous Rag Kafi on the Red Fort on this auspicious day, where even Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, was present at the time, and that ceremony started with his music only, with his Sahnai only, and after that Jawaharlal Nehru gave his famous speech, that is Tryst with Destiny. Bismillah Khan has given many memorable performances both in India and abroad. His first trip abroad was to Afghanistan, where King Jahir Shah was so taken in by Maestro that he gifted him priceless Persian carpets and other souvenirs. The King of Afghanistan was not the only one to be fascinated with Bismillah's music. Film director Vijay Bhatt was so impressed after hearing Bismillah play at the festival that he named a film after an instrument called Gunj Uthi Sahnai. So now his achievement is being described in this paragraph. So his first international trip was to Afghanistan, and in that first trip only he got recognized. The king, the Shah, the king of Afghanistan, that is King Jahir Khan, he was taken away, he was fascinated, he was lost in the music of Bismillah Khan when he heard, and therefore he gifted priceless Persian carpet to him and many other souvenirs. What is souvenir? Souvenir is things given in memory of a place or a person or an event. So not only King of Afghanistan, many other kings, many other persons of the world was fascinated to hear his Sahnai. After that, film director Vijay Bhatt is being quoted. This film director, once he heard Bismillah Khan playing in any function, and after that he was so attracted by his music that he named a movie after him, after that instrument, after Sahnai, that is Gunj Uthi Sahnai. The film was a hit, and one of Bismillah Khan's composition, Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya, turned out to be a nationwide chartbuster despite his huge success in celluloid world. Bismillah Khan's venture in film music were limited to two: Vijay Bhatt's Gunj Uthi Sahnai and Vikram Srinivas Kannada adventure Sandhai Apna. I just cannot come to the term with artificiality and glamour of the film world, he says with emphasis. So after that he took entry into Bollywood. He composed one song in the film Gunj Uthi Sahnai, and the song was Dil Ka Khilona Hai Toot Gaya, and after that he composed another song in movie of Vikram Srinivas, which was a Kannada movie, and that the name of the movie was Sandhai Apna. And after that he did not give any contribution to his contribution to Bollywood, because he said that he feel that it is artificial and the world of glamour which he don't like, and therefore after these two composition he never worked for Bollywood or for any film or for any this type of project. Award and recognition came thick and fast. Bismillah Khan became the first Indian to be invited to perform at the prestigious Lincoln Center Hall in the United States of America. He also took part in the World Exposition in Montreal, in the Cannes Art Festival, and in Osaka Trade Fair. So well known did he became internationally that an auditorium in Tehran was named after him, Tahar Musk Ustad Bismillah Khan. So now his international achievement, his international fame is being given in this paragraph. He says, it is being said, award and recognition came thick and fast. Now what is thick and fast? Thick and fast, it means it came rapidly and in great number. Thick and fast, it means rapidly and in great number. So not only he became a national fame, but his fame reached beyond boundaries, beyond borders. So he performed in many various prestigious international platform, at various international prestigious platform, and one of them is prestigious Lincoln Center Hall, that is in United States of America. And after that he played in Montreal also, in Cannes Art Festival, and in Osaka Trade Fair as well. And then it is being said that a auditorium is named after him in Tehran. That is the name of that auditorium is Tahar Mosque Ustad Bismillah Khan. So to credit him, to laud him, to appreciate his achievement, to give respect to his art of playing Sahnai, auditorium was named after him in Tehran. National awards like Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan and the Padma Vibhushan were conferred on him. So he was awarded with Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan. In 2001, Ustad Bismillah Khan was awarded India's highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna, with the coveted award resting on his chest and his eyes glinting with rare happiness. He said, "All I would like to say is, teach your children music. This is Hindustan's richest tradition. Even the West is now coming to learn our music." So now it is being said that in 2001 he was awarded with the highest civilian award, that is Bharat Ratna. So he received Bharat Ratna in 2001, and many other prizes he received in his life. So this was the award that is Bharat Ratna, which he was much desired by him as well as his listener. And then in that award ceremony, he said that teach your child. He asked the public, he asked the Indian, the Hindustani, to teach music to each and every child, because he says that music is the richest tradition of our country, of Hindustan. And he says that now even foreigners, now the people of different countries are even coming to India to learn music. In spite of having travelled all over the world, Khan Sahab, as he is fondly called, is exceedingly fond of Benares and Dumrao, and they remain for him the most wonderful town of the world. A student of his once wanted him to head a Sehnai school in the USA, and the student promised to recreate the atmosphere of Banaras by replicating the temples there. But Khan Sahib asked him if he would be able to transport river Ganga as well. Later he is remembered to have said, that is why whenever I am in foreign country, I keep yearning to see Hindustan, while in Mumbai I think of only Banaras and the holy Ganga, and while in Banaras I miss the unique mutt of Dumrao. So his love for his native land is being described in this paragraph, that in spite that no doubt he has traveled all over the world, he has performed all over the world, but he loved his native place, his place of origin, that is Banaras and Dumrao, the most. So he says, it is being said, so wherever he went, but these two places, he always felt a special place in his heart for this two places, which is his native land, that is Banaras and Dumrao. So one incident is being described over here, that one of his students asked him to head, it means to become a part of Sehnai school in USA, but what he said, that I can't be away from India, and that too from Banaras. Then his student promised him that he will recreate the atmosphere of that Sehnai school. He will replicate it. He will make the appearance of that atmosphere of that Sehnai school just as Banaras. He will make different temples. He will make a replica of different temples which is there in Banaras. But then he asked, will you be able to transport river Ganga? So this shows that how much he was attached to river Ganga and how much he was attached to the temples of Banaras. And then he says that whenever he is out of India, his heart always longs to see Hindustan, and when he is in Mumbai, he always longs to see Banaras, and when he is in Banaras, he always miss the mutt of Dumrao. So it shows his patriotic feeling and his love for his native land. That is the Banaras and Dumrao. These two places always had a special place in his heart, and he was never able to forget these two places as well as the river Ganga. So we may say that Banaras and mutt of Dumrao and river Ganga can never be separated away from him. So it was, these three were inseparable part of his memory. Ustad Bismillah Khan's life is perfect example of rich cultural heritage of India. One that effortlessly accept that a devout Muslim like him can very naturally play the Sehnai every morning at Kashi Vishwanath temple. So it is being said that his life is a perfect example of diversity, the cultural diversity and heritage of India. Why it is being said so? Because he was a devout Muslim. It means a strong believer of any religion. So he had a deep faith in Muslim. If his religion was different, but even though he played Sehnai throughout his life, or to the most part of his life, at the Vishwanath temple, the temple which is meant for Hindu. So this shows that how broad his concept of religion was. And even he has started his journey from temple only at the age of 5, when he won his first prize, when he used to win the prize of laddu weighing 1.25 kg. Even that laddu was won by him at temple only. He started learning music at temple only along with his maternal uncle. So being a Muslim, being a strong believer of Muslim, in spite of that, we can say that temple played an inseparable part in his life. So this shows his vastness, of his broadness of his ideas and thought. So his mind was not narrow. He respected the diversity, the cultural diversity and heritage of India. Ustad Bismillah Khan passed away on 21 August 2006 at the age of 90 after a prolonged illness. He was given a state funeral and the government of India declared one day of national mourning. So he passed away on 21st August 2006 at the age of 90, as he was not keeping well for a long time, and the day on which he passed away, that was regarded as a state funeral. He was given a state funeral. A state funeral is given to the distinguished person who has done something or achieved something for the country, and that day was declared as a national mourning day. It means something to mourn the loss which is not to any particular person, but the loss which the country has suffered. To mark that, a national mourning is being announced. So this is all about this chapter. So this is how the chapter comes to an end. So we come to know about the journey of Ustad Bismillah Khan, who toured from Dumrao, a village in Bihar, from there to the each and every corner of the world, and was bestowed with different and all the awards which anyone could be awarded in his field. This is all about this chapter. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you.